As soon as you get there, you know something's wrong.
Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged.
You know, you see the world in pure innocence, and that all gets ripped away from you.
He doesn't look healthy. I'm not trying to be rude. He does not look healthy.
In one phone call, that's just the day that changed it all.
This morning, for the first time, the best...
See, this is him here, man. There is some definite not okay changes.
Friends of Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle speaking out about that November day when they discovered Ethan, Xana, Kaylee Goncalves, and Maddie Mogen brutally murdered in an off-campus home.
I don't think anyone expects anything like that ever in their life to happen.
Not.
Hunter Johnson and his girlfriend Emily Alandt now telling...
Oh, they're still together. They're holding hands and whatnot. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Their story in a new Prime Video docu-series, One Night in Idaho.
It is the 30th, so that's coming out in like, what, 12 days? I think it's coming out on the 11th of July. I could have that date wrong. But it's soon. It's coming out really soon.
I love it when people talk about Ethan and Xana sort of being like male and female versions of each other.
Oh, it's very much true. They were the same person.
Hunter and
I really can't stand how their love story gets just like completely overshadowed by all of the media attention that everyone put on Kaylee and Maddie. Like I've always said, I understand they were best friends and it's tragic in itself, right? But Xana and Ethan, that was something else. That was how many generations between the two of them that just got completely obliterated off the timeline. That was a true love story. And it never got to go any further than she finally knew what it was like to live with her boyfriend.
Emily say the fall weekend started like any other with a big football game.
It was a normal weekend for us, just hanging out with our friends.
The next morning, Emily Alandt, one of the surviving roommates, called her concerned, asking her and Hunter to come over.
In the documentary, you tell the story of really not feeling alarmed when Dylan called you.
I joked around with her on the phone. You know, it's something you would never expect.
I would love to know the conversation. Because the entire thing that we've been having issues with is not only the 8-hour delay, but how now that we've gotten the 911 call, no one's mentioning blood. No one's really mentioning the intruder even. It's like the person that they claim was in the house is an afterthought. And they're more concerned about Xana being on the floor and possibly having too much alcohol. Because again, we have come to find that regardless, Dylan is not a good human because she admits that she saw Xana on the floor in that 4 o'clock hour whenever she was going to Bethany's room. So much in her brain that she knows which direction she was laying when it comes to her head being a certain position to the wall and her feet to the door. Specifics for somebody who's so out there but doesn't also remember anything else hardly and is all over the place from, oh, yeah, maybe a person in all black and now all of a sudden they're a firefighter holding something. You see? See my problem?
November, so I had shorts on, slides on. Like, I wasn't prepared to obviously stay there. I was just going over to check, see what's going on. I would say as soon as you get there, you know something's wrong.
Hunter was the first person to arrive to King Road.
As soon as you get there, you know something's wrong. Anybody would know something was wrong walking into a house where 4 bodies had bled out and done other things for 8 hours.
Discover what happened. Their friend Josie Louderin, who was also there, describing...
She is the other female on the 911 call.
...the moments in the docuseries.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right. Like, you could feel it almost.
Yeah? I guess so, whenever we know that there's text messages going around between the two of them literally speaking about how it sounds like they're being killed. I know that, again, some of Steve Goncalves' messages are going back around, which is great. We're probably going to go over them again here on this channel because I have them all. These are conversations that are not technically leaked, but that were released by the other party of the conversations. Brat Norton, she's a TikToker. I don't know if she's still on TikTok. I have no idea. If you were around for all of that drama, then you know. There's videos. I'm not going to rehash all of it now, but there's videos down in the description box. I'll put a couple of links. But she was speaking to Steve Goncalves and Howard Bloom. She was basically playing middleman between Steve G and Howie B. And all the conversations are legit. Everything on there is between Steve and her, all the way down to his suspicions on the timeline, knowing that Dylan and Bethany actually did hear and see things, knowing the text messages between them. Yeah. That's why I have such a strong, like, emotional reaction to Steve Goncalves, because I've known all of this. I've known for 2 years now that he's known that at least Dylan has lied to his face. And I don't understand how he comes out and does what he does knowing all of that. Like, in private conversations, he says how he feels, obviously, because he says it very, 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 very to the point in the messages between him and Brat. But when it comes to the public, when it comes to him being on camera, it's a 180. And it's a problem for me.
Hunter was ahead of me and Emily and immediately was pushed out, and Hunter was like, get out, somebody call 911.
You hear Hunter on the 911 call telling the girls there was an unconscious person protecting them.
Well, what we were told here recently from the documents is that he went up there and said this twice, apparently, because we were told basically a falsity when it came to the Goncalveses coming out and giving a story. So, like, I'm really questioning why they're out here speaking. I don't understand why they're out here speaking. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want to know about the damn door, because Xana's door being opened or closed is a complete game changer. The second that the Goncalveses came out with that story, everything changed, because it also went to Dylan and Bethany couldn't open the door. They didn't have enough strength. So they had to call Hunter over, big, strong Hunter over to come and open the door. He got the door open just enough to be able to see inside, freaked out, screamed, get the F out, call the cops. And then that's whenever everything went crazy. That's the dramatic ass story that we were told. Okay, this is disgustingly dramatic enough. We didn't need a fake story. The true story seems to be from the 911 call, from the transcript, from everything that's coming out now. They got there. He walked in after listening to whatever Dylan had to say. He listened to the fact there was an intruder in the house, which is why he grabbed something from the kitchen. He didn't even get all the way to Xana's door because her door was already open and he could see her. That matches with Dylan also claiming that she saw Xana on the floor as she's going towards Bethany's room. And that means the door was never shut. The door was never, ever shut. And that changes so much. So much. I just don't understand, again, why they felt the need to come out here and tell us a false story. And if Hunter Johnson really did tell him, oh, her door was closed and I had to come in there and manhandle it, then Steve should be coming out here and saying that. And instead, whenever he's been asked by the sprinkle of people who've even bothered to try to get him to man up and admit that he said something that was false, he dances around it and changes everything and then doesn't answer the question. But anyway, according to everything that we've heard now, they went into the house, that portion happened, and then on the 911 call, they're told that they have to go and make sure if somebody's breathing or not. So then they go back into the house, and that's never you actually physically hear him say, get out, get out, get out. That's why it's so confusing, because we've been told the whole time by people who really don't know crap about crap, okay, on their own admittance, don't know crap about crap, the other story, whenever this is the true story. So a lot of people that are like freaking out on stuff and like putting blame on certain places, it's because we don't have the truth. We don't have the truth. And it doesn't help whenever the families come out and give us false information. They should honestly be ashamed of themselves.
From the graphic details.
Is she breathing?
No.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
Truly, in my heart, I believe God was with me that day, and he gave me the strength to get through that day.
I know that whenever I'm in a really intense situation, I don't flip. Like, I am stoic. I can concentrate. I'm good under stress. I'm very good under stress because that's all I've ever been under. So that's how I've like learned how to live. So whenever there's nothing really going on, I feel like I sort of like am losing a little bit of control because I don't have like this intense pressure to stay focused. Neither here nor there, honestly. I don't necessarily not believe him. But I also look at the way that he has physically changed over the past few years. And I don't know, again, if that's just like depression reaction to what happened. But whenever he's sitting there and like with a smile in his voice talking about how it was November and he was in a hoodie and flip-flops and shorts and da-da-da, it's just a bit odd. It's just a bit strange. That's all I'll say.
The friends say they were told to sit outside, waiting for hours with little information.
We watched the ambulance come and we watched them immediately leave. So I think.
Okay, that's another thing. A lot of people want to act as if this isn't real, which really hurts the parents, even the ones I don't like. But especially, you know, some of them I do have a soft spot for. It really hurts them whenever people act like, well, we didn't see any bodies get taken out, so how is this even real? Well, when's the last time you saw that on TV? Please go find me a clip from the last 10 years. I will definitely retract my statement. I can't recall the last time I saw bodies being moved on TV, on the news, anything like that. They normally try to section off the area to allow privacy for those kinds of things. So that never bothered me, but we did hear way from the very beginning. I remember back in the very beginning of me getting on this case, I was going over to Dago's channel. This is something that we talked about a lot, about why EMS wasn't even allowed in to like validate and verify. Well, after 8 hours, it's really noticeable, you know, if somebody needs something or not. So the first responders instantly would have been like, yeah, there's no reason for you to come in here at all. But that still sort of bothers me, because does that mean that they didn't even bother to check out Dylan or Bethany either? Like, they didn't run any vitals on them or anything because the ambulance just instantly left? That's not really normal protocol either, honestly. Not for something like this. I mean, maybe they said, no, I'm fine. I don't want you to even touch me type thing, because I know that happens a lot too. But yeah, okay.
I think that was a hard part for sure.
That second you realize there's no one to be saved.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not knowing who was responsible or why, they feared for their own safety.
We just left to get away, be safe.
Yeah.
Is our
You
mindset.
didn't feel safe?
No.
In the nearly 7 weeks it took police to
I know
arrest a suspect.
a lot of people did hightail it out of there. Not only because like break was coming up real soon, but just like in general, a lot of people that weren't already online, because we were literally at the end portion of the pandemic at the time that all this crap started happening. A lot that weren't already online went online. They accommodated that for the entire campus.
Emily, Hunter, and surviving roommates Dylan.
See how much bigger he looks here? I wonder if he's sick. Because I'm telling you, like, it's more just like he just does not look healthy. He does not look healthy. Like, it's worrisome.
Roommates Dylan and Bethany became the targets of online sleuths and social media attacks.
Lots of threats. People saying I should confess to murdering them. I felt like I was less than a person in that point in my life.
That's too far. I know people take things way too far. Nothing should ever be done in real life. This is supposed to be us trying to discuss things and figure things out. So while I know that a lot of people had suspicions, and even I'm like, kind of odd that, you know, you were oh so calm, but then I think, you know, you have to reflect like I just did. I'm calm in these situations. I can get things done faster and efficiently in these stressful ass situations. I can think clearly in these stressful situations. But then again, I keep coming back to this. We know what people always say about how things eat people inside and how eventually it reflects on the outside, and he just does not look healthy. So I'm not saying I hope he has a medical condition, because that's just horrible. But the alternative is that it's something else that's like mentally destroying him physically. You know what I mean? And again, it could just be sadness. It could just be sadness, but it's kind of extreme.
22. Police arrested then 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger. To Emily and Hunter, he was a complete stranger.
Is justice lie in a conviction?
I don't think there's going to ever be any justice. I don't think there's going to ever be any justice.
I mean, yeah, we can have justice.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and just see if I'm right on this. I've been watching them speak, right? Obviously. They didn't start like heavily looking at each other until it got to, oh, we left town because, and now this conviction thing. I could be wrong, and I'm no body language expert. Okay.
Justice for the conviction of it, but I don't get to still hang out with Ethan. So
they still don't get to.
They don't have a son. They don't have a daughter anymore.
They say they hope people remember who their friends were beyond the headlines.
Who they are as people is so much more than the Idaho 4. And
well, I'll say this. If the media and the police put as much attention on Xana and Ethan as they did on Maddie and Kaylee, then people wouldn't feel as if they're forgotten. Here on this channel, we bring them up constantly because the secrecy behind their timeline is a huge red flag for me, especially when it comes to what I believe is actually going on here. Okay. So I understand that, because I say it all the time. I can't stand how their love story, just their stories in general, just get like faded into the back all the time. It's really sad.
They shouldn't be known as the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be attached to, you know, the name of who did that to them. And
I mean, I understand people that are close to them wanting closure and wanting him to be the right person, but A, to me, they should be under a gag order and not even out here talking. B, we don't know what's happening right now. We still have not gotten to trial. But I would just really love to know, like, what they know from the background, because they were in those hotels afterwards whenever the cops had to put everybody up somewhere. They were still in that circle of friends whenever all of these things about Dylan's boo-boo started being discussed. So I'd really love to know what they feel about that, because she's just like, yeah, I was joking with her on the phone. But how do you feel now that you know everything about the 8 hours? What do you feel now that we know that Steve Goncalves, or at least we've known for a long time, but at this point, how did they not all know that at least the Goncalveses are aware that the two were very aware of a situation and did nothing? Allowed whatever was going on with your friends to happen without trying to get any help whatsoever. Does that change how they feel about Dylan? I would love to know. Love to know.